Hello once again.
Hey.
I am Moses.
Captain Caveman!
Seriously?
Why not?
You're going to go with that?
Isn't that good?
Okay.
You think so?
And this is episode 9 of Geek Talk MD. Dave is about to be dragged away by the nice men with the white coats.
Woohoo, again.
He's going to be fitted for a sport jacket with extra long sleeves.
Yay.
Okay.
My favorite kind. My safe word is apple. So what's our topic?
Our topic is cartoons.
Yeah! There we go. Yes, cartoons, something that's, it's dear to most of us, I would imagine, who's listening to the podcast.
I mean, wow, where do you start?
I know.
Well, why don't you start?
Well, when we were first talking about this, obviously the first things that come to mind are certain, images of early cartoons that, we all may have seen, when we were small and whatnot. And of course I was thinking, we could talk about the history and, where does, cartoons or animation or whatever start. And the reality is that, What's that? You having beans again?
I'm snoring.
You're snoring? All right, then, screw you. How about we just jump right into it, then?
History. Oh, please. We've been out of school for years, Dave.
Yeah,
Let's fuck the history.
Or not.
Or not.
Let's not do that.
Heaven knows where history has been.
Well, that's very true.
It's quite dirty.
Gets you from behind.
I'm sorry?
Gets you from behind.
Ooh.
Anyhow, so
okay, now please get rid of that mental picture.
Early morning, what were some of your early day memories of cartoons when when you're in your PJs and
Saturday mornings?
Saturday morning cartoons?
Saturday mornings, you get up. It's the only time of the week that you actually wake up early because you want to.
Yeah, really.
And you just pad downstairs. Don't even bother brushing your teeth.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're just down in front of the TV in your PJs with the
cereal or no cereal.
Oh, hell yeah! Count Chocula was for preference.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Oh, Count Chocula, plunk down with that really big serving bowl for the salad
and the big spoon
and the big wooden spoon and I'm half a jug of milk, half the box of Count Chocula, and I'm off to the races. Do
you remember an early repertoire of?
Oh God, probably. Oddly enough, 2 Canadian cartoons spring to mind right off the bat. Yeah, and they were both from the same studio, Spider-Man and Rocket Robin Hood.
Oh, Rocket Robin Hood. Oh, yeah, I remember that guy.
Do you remember the song?
I'm trying to remember it now.
Come
I remember it then.
Gather around me, space travelers surround me. Hark now to the ballad of Rocket Robin Hood. I may well confound you, astound you, spellbound you, with heroes and villains, the bad and the good.
All I really remember
now with... Come on, I gotta finish the song. Watch now with as our rockets race here from afar.
Kitchen's got a clip and save us.
Okay, fine. I'll put in the clip.
Come gather around me, space travelers surround me. Hark now to the ballad of Rocket Robin Hood. I may well confound you, astound you, spellbound you, with heroes and villains, the bad and the good. Watch now as our rockets race here from afar, for now with our Robin we live on a star.
3, 2, 1, blast off! Band of brothers marching together, heads held high in all kinds of weather, with fiery blast the roaring rockets rise. Beyond the earth, beyond the skies, at the side of Robin take a stand. With the gallant leader of the band, send a joyous shout to walk the land for Robin, Robin Hood.
But that's
the part that I remember from that intro the most is when Friar Tuck is sitting there and he's eating.
Oh yeah, and he's just taking one bite out of every piece of food and just throwing it over his
throwing it
shoulder,
behind him. That's the part I remember from that
and
intro.
then beating the crap out of people with his gut.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a good show, man.
Oh, God. Yes, it was. I mean, it was so entertaining. I mean, looking back now, the animation was just so horrendous.
Yeah, where everything is one color except for the part that's moving.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good times.
And it was such limited animation.
Yeah.
But and
I like the voices, too.
oh, God, yeah. But what always blew my mind, since it was the same studio did Rocket Robin Hood and Spider-Man,
Yeah.
there were a couple of episodes that were identical through both shows, and they just replaced Rocket Robin Hood with Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That Spider-Man was an extra special one because, they kept repeating, reusing certain scenes. And the one that they always reused was when he's swinging above the city line.
Yeah, where are the webs attached? Because he's basically just web swinging down the street. There's nothing there.
The
Oh my God!
Good times.
And there'd be and every now and again, like he'd do a face palm.
Oh yeah.
And his hand was bigger than his head.
Yeah. Good times.
And that exclamation, "Wallopin' web snappers!" I mean, come on!
Although, you know what? I did like that version of Spider-Man. The one where he could run out of fluid.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it was perfect at that time.
Oh sure.
It was everything you could have. And the song again. I'm not going to sing it.
Thank you.
I'll put up.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Oh gosh.
I mean, did you know Aerosmith even did a cover of that song?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think I've got it here. I'll put a bit of that in too.
Okay, good. Good. That'd be good. No, for me, the funny thing was I have two very distinct memories of early morning cartoons, and the first was my mom used to get up very very early in the morning, and I had to go with her in the morning to work, which is like about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Ouch!
Before I go to school.
Ouch!
And the first thing that I would get up and watch. Not unlike you, I was there with my bowl of cereal and whatnot, and I'd be watching this show. And it was the...
Wait. What was your cereal?
My cereal?
Yeah.
Well, it was, to be honest, it was either... what was that? The strawberry version of that?
Frankenberry.
Frankenberry, or it was Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch.
Yeah, Captain Crunch. Pure sugar, straight to the veins.
And like I said, you're off to the races.
Off to the races. But it was... the very first thing that I remember watching was... I think it was The Avengers, actually. Or it was just Iron Man. I don't quite remember.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah!
Not because I understood French, but because it
was the superheroes. Yeah, I remember those. Oh my God, yes!
And one would think that my French would have improved over the years, which of course it didn't. But I do remember those early scenes of Iron Man and talking in the metallic voice in French, and I always thought it sounded so cool. I really wish I understood all of that.
Yeah, there was Captain America, there was Iron Man, Thor.
I know there was a Hulk. which
yeah,
was good
the
because
Hulk,
there's no talking.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing. I thought, like, I kept expecting, when because you read the comics,
Yeah.
and then of course there was the live action TV series with Lou Ferrigno.
Oh yeah, that's
and
later.
even in the comics, the Hulk really doesn't talk much. Hulk
Yeah.
smash.
Well, that's pretty much it.
In that cartoon, my God, he was loquacious. He just
Yeah, but at the end of the day, all that mattered was what he was doing. So whether or not he was talking or not didn't matter. You got the point.
And again, just like with Spider-Man, sometimes like the sizes of things would just be like I remember there's one bit where you actually see him stomp on a tank, and his foot is as big as the tank.
Yeah.
And I think one of them it was Prince Namor the Submariner.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
Marvel Comics' answer to Aquaman.
That's
Although,
right.
if I'm not mistaken, in the comics, the Submariner came first.
Did he?
Yeah, he was actually created during World War II.
Now, was he the king? I keep getting the mix up. Was he the king or was he the prince?
He started out as the prince. I think it wasn't until like the 80s that he became king.
Oh, okay. So he knocked off his dad.
Don't know.
In a classic Romulan way. No.
Well, he did have the pointed ears, didn't he?
He didn't have the forehead, though.
Yeah, as one of my friends once said, he's a cross between Mr. Spock and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, so that was
right down to the green posing trunks.
That was definitely one of my earlier memories of early kid cartoons.
Oh, and that was the animation was terrible, but they were just such fun.
Well, exactly, and this was back with TV Boys and Girls, where you actually had to watch what was on.
Or
you could PVR it, or do a live stream to some website and watch whatever you wanted, or on demand.
Oh yeah, I mean there were 3 networks from the States.
Yeah,
and I think there were 2 Canadian networks and like 3 or 4 independent stations.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's not like it would have any cartoons because all cartoons are
right
versions from the States.
And this and like you turned on your TV, you had to wait for it to warm up.
Wow!
I mean, I remember before there was even cable.
Well, no, these are all rabbit ears.
Yeah, like I don't think we started. We didn't lose the rabbit ears until I was 7, I think, maybe 6. So I do distinctly remember doing the thing with turn it that way, push it that way, higher, lower, put some tinfoil on it.
Exactly. Well, I remember the commercials on how you can get these small micro dishes to bring in an extra channel or 2.
Oh God, yeah, like they worked.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get any new cartoons out of this.
Oh, but man, I mean, and then there was Mighty Mouse.
Oh, Mighty Mouse, yeah.
Here I come to save the day.
And then later on, you had Hercules.
Yeah, I think that was probably again from the same studio that did Rocket Robin Hood. I could be wrong, but it seemed like it.
For some reason, I thought it was Hanna-Barbera, but I could be wrong.
No, but that one I didn't like at all. I thought that was really crap. Actually,
I liked it because they were actually trying to get in some Greek mythology, which I thought was
bullshit.
It was, man.
It barely got anything. I mean, first of all,
what are you talking about?
First of all,
introduction to centaurs, even though it was a stupid rendition.
Yeah, that was problem number 1. The centaur.
That was a problem.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump into the TV and slaughter that thing.
Yeah. Well,
most annoying cartoon character.
How could you be so cynical when you're young, man? That explains a lot.
Oh man, I was so hoping you'd see him on a spit one day. Hercules slow roasting him over an open fire.
That's why you had to watch, otherwise you'd miss it.
and I mean, I was a huge fan of Greek mythology, and practically every character name. I mean, they just grabbed a name from this would be a good name, and then created a character that had nothing to do with the Greek myth.
Well, Heracles. There's one.
But that's just it. Heracles was the Greek name. Hercules was the Roman name.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I still liked it. When I was little.
And what did you think of Mighty Mouse?
I wasn't so keen.
No?
You know, no, not really. Well, partially because, you know, I was never, to be honest, I was never really a huge Superman fan.
Really?
Really like it? No. I wasn't a huge Superman fan.
So you were a Marvel boy through and through, huh?
I was more of a Marvel guy, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I did like Batman to a certain extent, but he wasn't the Dark Knight, and he wasn't the Batman and Robin yet. So...
Well,
You
no,
know,
I mean, granted, it wasn't cartoon, but I mean,
Yeah.
the old Batman TV series with Adam West was my big thing.
That was a little bit later too.
Although there was animation, you know, for the opening.
Well, yeah, but you can't.
Yeah,
you
that
know.
doesn't really count.
Yeah, that's cheating.
I will admit.
Now you're stretching.
I will admit, for the Mighty Mouse, all the opera did kind of get a bit trying after a while.
Yeah.
But I just loved watching that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, if you want, to be honest, the only real opera, or not even just opera, but the real appreciation for music was, you know, the old Bugs Bunny.
Oh,
and the barber shop one.
Oh, the barber shop one, and
Right.
and there were two. There was the Rabbit of Seville,
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
and there was What's Opera Doc.
Oh, what was that one?
Okay, well, the Rabbit of Seville.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I remember.
Okay,
that.
so the Rabbit
Yeah,
of
go.
the Seville was the one where he starts, you know, massaging Elmer Fudd's
Yeah,
bald head while they're
with his
playing.
ears.
Yeah, dun 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 dun, and then the What's Opera Doc. Well, killed a wabbit,
Oh, okay.
and with my spear and magic helmet, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's the only Bugs Bunny cartoon I remember that actually had a sad ending. Because Bugs Bunny dies at the end.
Does he?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Elmer Fudd gets so angry with him that he unleashes all of his mystical power, and then you see Bugs Bunny's broken body lying on top of a boulder, and Elmer Fudd picks up Bugs' dead, limp body and says, "I killed a wabbit," and weeps as he carries him away.
I don't remember that. You must have seen the director's cut.
No, and then Bugs Bunny just kind of opens his eyes, looks at the camera, or looks at the audience, and says, "Well, we can't have a sad ending," or something like that. Like he breaks the moment, but technically it did have,
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny died at the end.
I don't remember that part. But
Well, then go back and watch it. I'm sure you can find it on
maybe you
YouTube.
fell asleep in front of the television and made it up in your head.
Oh,
and turned into one of those other episodes.
go watch it on YouTube. They're all
But
there.
you know what? They had a lot of great music in some of
Oh
those.
God, yes.
But actually, one of the other faves I had was the Martian.
Oh, Marvin the Martian.
I love Martin.
The
know?
Illudium K3 explosive space modulator. That Earth creature has stolen the space modulator. Oh, delays.
I liked it when it was just him, not when they had all those other little Martian.
No,
characters.
just him. Either just him against Bugs Bunny, or just him
Daffy
against
Duck. No,
against
no,
Duck
no.
Dodgers!
Daffy Duck.
Yes,
is
against
the adversary.
Dodgers in the 24th and a half century.
You know what? I have to say, I have always enjoyed those characters when they gave them a little bit more name. Like, I mean, you've got Roadrunner and the Coyote, but I liked it better when he was Wile E. Coyote.
Super genius.
Wile E. Coyote, super genius. I like the way that rolls out. Wile E. Coyote, super genius. Wile E. Coyote, super genius.
It was better when they gave them the names.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Like, you've got, what was it?
Yeah, don't get used to this, folks. Dave and I don't always agree on this kind of shit.
No. Well, I mean, the wolf and the sheepdog, right? You know.
Well, no. Yeah. He was a wolf. It was Sam and Ralph.
That's right. Well,
So
was it a wolf or a
everybody-
coyote? Well, anyway,
No,
whatever.
he was a wolf.
It was a wolf. It was a wolf.
It was pretty much Wile E. Coyote, just with more muscle. But
yeah, well, but they gave him a full name, and suddenly they became two. Then they had the two friends that checked in. So
Yeah, good
they
morning,
had
Sam.
Ralph
Good morning,
Wolf
Ralph.
and Sam Sheepdog, and they checked in the beginning of the shift. Then they went about their business, and then they checked out. That was
and
awesome.
don't forget they'd break for lunch.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They'd break for lunch. He'd be Sam Sheepdog would be right at the on the verge of pounding the living shit out of Ralph, and then all of a sudden the whistle would blow, and they'd stop, and they'd go get their lunch boxes and sit there and have lunch, and they'd even share their lunches, and then they'd have Sam would smoke a pipe, and Ralph would have a cigarette, and then the whistle would blow. The whistle would blow. And they'd walk back into position. He'd grab him by the throat, pull back his fist, and pow!
That's when you could show violence with cartoons.
Oh my God, yeah. I couldn't believe. I mean, you know what? I actually discovered recently that even the cartoons that we saw were censored.
Well, they re-released them censored. I remember that.
Yeah, well, no, because my favorite cartoon character was Pepe Le Pew.
Mm-hmm.
Of all time. Of the Warner Brothers characters was Pepe Le Pew. And I know it's embarrassing now. We've already kind of covered this before. He was a rapist.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was one episode one cartoon they did with him that for years I'd just seen and thought, okay, this is great and that's fine. And then at one point I saw an uncut version of it that I'd never seen before. There's this whole scene where Pepe pretends to commit suicide.
What?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Positive.
I don't think so.
And
this is all your years of regret building up inside of you.
Hear me out.
This nightmare.
Hear me out. He pretends to commit suicide because she locks herself in this glass cabinet.
Okay.
The cat locks herself in this glass cabinet, and she refuses to come out. And he keeps trying to convince her, and she won't come out. And then she tells him, "You stink."
Yeah.
And so he suddenly looks incredibly downtrodden and sad, and he pulls this gun out, holds it against his head, and walks out of the frame, and then you hear the bang, and she suddenly panics, leaps out of the glass case right into his arms. He was waiting just outside of her view, so she lands right in his arms, and he says, "I missed. Lucky for you."
All right, well, that part I could see happening, but you threw me off when you first started because I didn't think it would get
I know. I I was like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
I'm watching this whole sequence and that I'd never seen. It was like suddenly realizing that there was a lock on the washroom door that I'd never seen before. And it had been there all the time. Something like that, But, oh, man. I mean, did you know... Like Porky Pig, if we're going to stick with Warner Brothers for the moment.
Yeah.
Porky Pig was voiced by somebody else before Mel Blanc, and we'll get to Mel Blanc again later.
Was it?
Yeah. If you go back to the really early cartoons, think about it. He had a different voice, and his stutter was far, far worse. Mm-hmm.
I know that they toned down the stuttering to make it easier for people to understand what you're saying.
Actually, what actually was the case, I said actually twice in the same sentence, dear God.
Actually?
Yeah.
Are you stuttering? Maybe you did the voice.
That's all, folks. No, what happened was they were basically just hiring bit part actors off the Warner Brothers lot to just come in and record.
Okay.
And there was one guy, this was back in the day when they were still doing silent live action films and such.
Silent live action?
Yeah.
For what?
Like Charlie Chaplin, stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
okay.
and so they had this one bit actor who actually stuttered. And the guy that created Porky Pig had the idea that it would be funny to have Porky Pig stutter. For whatever reason, to this day no one knows why, because the guy's dead and no one's ever bothered to ask him before he died.
Okay. All right.
So they figured, okay...
I think the world of politically correct stepped in there.
Yeah, well, the thing is, they figured stuttering pig, get a stuttering actor.
Sure.
The thing was, he stuttered. So he was constantly flubbing takes.
Yeah.
And it was getting really expensive because back then, recording tape was really pricey.
Yeah.
And so at one point, like, Mel Blanc had become, like, the go-to guy. He was still fairly early on in his career. But they'd realized just how creative he was and how talented he was with all these different voices. So that Leon Schlesinger, the guy that ran the animation studio, basically pulled him aside and said, "Can you do a pig?" Now here's the funny part of the story. Mel Blanc was a method actor.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually went, he asked for the day off,
Yeah.
went to a pig farm,
Yeah.
and studied the pigs
Talking.
until, well, grunting and wallowing and slopping and
Okay.
and apparently he actually fell in.
Okay. Well, I mean, but Porky isn't that kind of pig.
No, he isn't, but that's where he got the idea. I mean, that's where
Okay.
he got, and that's how he developed the idea of like he changed the stutter.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being straight stutters, if you actually pay attention, every stutter is a series of grunts.
Okay, I think you've listened to that far too closely.
No, this is actually in Mel Blanc's autobiography.
Okay.
That's not all, folks. So
Yeah.
meh. But yeah, and I mean, there were so many great characters and so many wonderful cartoons. I mean, the Tasmanian Devil.
Oh yeah. Well, he's one of those faves. He goes along the same lines. Not unlike Animal from the Muppets, although that's
Yeah,
different.
or
But,
Wolverine,
Muppets,
or Wolverine in the X-Men.
I mean, it's all that primal, crazy chaosness. But
Oh God, yeah.
I
Oh
love
yeah.
it.
And I mean, just all the different ways that you'd see just how monstrously destructive he was.
Yeah, exactly. Out of control.
And again, I thought he was far, far funnier against Daffy Duck than he was against Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, I mean, Bunny was always trying to con him into something, whereas Daffy Duck was always the victim of him.
Yeah, although the one time where Daffy realized that there was actually a reward if he got the Tasmanian Devil back into his cage.
Is that the one where they suddenly do all of this this back and forth, and then they get another Tasmanian Devil come in there, and there's a female Tasmanian Devil?
No, that was the Bugs Bunny one. This was the one
Oh.
where in the same newscast where he finds out that there's a reward. They say that the Tasmanian Devil becomes docile if he hears music,
Okay.
and so Daffy,
Oh, that's the greedy
first-
little coward.
Yeah, I may be a coward, but I'm a greedy little coward. And first he starts with the radio, but the radio is on a power cord as opposed to batteries.
Yeah.
So, and then he tries singing, but he loses his voice.
Yeah.
And tries with bagpipes, and the Taz stomps the bagpipes into
Yeah.
oblivion. I mean, just so many. Oh my God, it was just so funny.
I mean, they had a lot of really good characters that
Oh.
obviously have tested test of
Stood
time.
the test of time.
I mean, they have so many different characters, and even some of the the non-talking characters, were good. Did they do the one that had that little cat and the bulldog?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so
It was,
there wasn't much talking going on there, but
Yeah,
you could always get the point across.
Yeah, the bulldog I think was named Mark Antony.
Was it? Okay.
I can't remember if the kitten had a name.
Because I know that there were different versions, and in some of the versions they actually had the backstory where the dog was there and she got the cat, or she found the cat and the mother
Yeah.
puts it in, and the cat is harassing the dog, but the dog is hating the little baby kitten,
Yeah.
until the kitten starts clawing its nails into the back of the dog.
Oh yeah,
and
while
then
he's
cuddles
barking "Rockabye Baby."
Yeah. So just just that type of thing is just classic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and actually that cartoon, that series of cartoons, was so amazing. Disney Pixar even stole a gag from it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember Monsters Incorporated?
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
There's a scene where Sully loses Boo,
Uh-huh.
and he thinks that she's been accidentally dumped in the trash,
Yeah.
and he's watching through a window as
Yeah.
all the trash is being processed, so it's being
Yeah, yeah.
chopped and ground up, and
Oh,
then
that's true,
and,
yeah.
and that's actually that was taken from the one where Mark Antony's owner, the lady with the great legs,
Yeah.
remember the
Yeah,
great
yeah,
legs
yeah,
and
yeah.
those stiletto
Yeah.
heels,
Yeah, exactly.
and she
And the
suddenly decided
pinstripe.
to make cookies, and
Yeah.
he hid the kitten in the flour. So he thought that the kitten was. The whole time that she's preparing these cookies, he's looking in from the window and just like, no, and then faints.
It's
When-
true.
It's it's shot for shot the exact same scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh gosh, that's true. But I mean, but like I said, the characters just get, it's just ridiculous how many of the characters go on, and you've got other types of characters that are definitely classics. From different series.
Yeah.
You got Flintstones, you got Yogi Bear.
Well, Flintstones. I mean, wow, you could go on and on just about that.
Well, I know it's just ridiculous.
And I mean, everybody that now looks at like Family Guy and The Simpsons and South Park and King of the Hill and think, oh wow, cartoons for adults. The Flintstones was there way before any of them. The Flintstones was actually an adult show. It was prime time.
Well, exactly. Well, I mean, exactly. I mean, they talked about the hardships of the work, the family life, all those types of things. Friendship,
the potential to cheat on your spouse.
I don't remember that.
Oh well, no, they never went so far as him actually cheating, but there were always instances, where some slinky woman would show up and try to seduce him, like in the James Bond episode.
No, it didn't
with
happen
Matt.
that often.
Yeah, but it did happen. Remember the James Bond episode?
No.
Oh, Jay Bondrock.
Wasn't that a movie?
No, that was The Man Called Flintstone. But there was the one cartoon where oh Jay Bondrock, you're so wonderful. Yes, I know. And judo, chop, chop, chop.
Okay.
And
well,
I'm too important.
I'll give you that. I'll say it for the one episode. But when the Rebels, Bam Bam he was from something else. He appeared on their doorstep, but
yeah,
I don't remember how he got there.
He just appeared on their door. He was abandoned on their doorstep.
But where did he come? Like, I don't remember if they showed where he actually came from.
No, they never do.
Oh, okay. So I mean,
here we're talking
about
they adopt
adoption.
him, and then they adopt him. Yeah,
right. But I mean,
but Pebbles
Pebbles was theirs.
Yeah.
Was Fred Williams.
Yeah,
and then of course you have all the nowadays modern discussion about who's hotter and whatnot.
Yeah, they even did an episode. They even did a gag of that on an episode of Red Dwarf.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, where the cat,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
they did.
the cat and Lister are watching the Flintstones.
Yeah.
And they're going on about how I'd go with Betty, but I'd be thinking of Wilma. and then they start. What are we doing? This is crazy. Yeah, she'd never leave Fred.
Yeah. and then this is part of the thing is that the Flintstones were so big. They had their TV shows, they had their holiday specials.
Yes.
And it all sort of blends together for me. I'm not sure which was part of the regular season and which was, one of these specials.
They did spin-offs. Remember there was the Pebbles and Bam Bam Hour? Although oddly enough, by the time they got to that series, Bam Bam was no longer super strong for some reason.
Yeah, that was kind of odd.
Yeah.
But you know what? And then Then they well, I'm not sure which came first, but then the Jetsons. Then they started doing the Jetsons.
Sure, I'm pretty sure Flintstones came first, but but
and the Jetsons were great too. Looking at the future, and
But actually, back up a sec to the Flintstones.
Yeah.
And again, Mel
they were in the past.
Yeah.
Jetsons were future. Flintstones were past.
Yes. But again, Mel Blanc was the voice of Barney Rubble. Mm. And funny story, after they'd finished the first season, the thing is, when they first offered him the part of Barney Rubble, they basically told him it was the Honeymooners, and that it was basically a caveman version of the Honeymooners, and he was going to voice the Ed Norton part.
Right.
But he didn't want to do that because if they'd wanted the Ed Norton character, they should have hired Art Carney, who played Ed Norton.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so he came up with this completely different voice. And if you actually go back and watch the first season of episodes, it is a completely different voice. But what happened was during the hiatus after the first season, he was in a massive car crash that broke almost every bone in his body, and he was in a coma for a few months. Oh, really? And when he got out of the coma, he actually started recording season 2 in a hospital bed in traction. But the thing was, and everybody thought, he was
those hospital bills.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody thought that there was no damage whatsoever, but there was one thing. Part of his memory was ruined because because he couldn't remember how to voice the original way he did Barney, and that's when the voice changed. And all of a sudden, in the first season, he's got a completely different voice, and all of a sudden, in the second season onwards, he sounds like Art Carney. Because he just couldn't remember.
Yeah. No, I mean, what the thing is when I nowadays if I see it, I have trouble watching them, obviously. So back in the day when I was young, I wasn't so critical. I probably couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, but I love that.
I'd watch
love
it
those
for the
shows.
gags and
I love those shows.
Sure. I mean, even some of the more, if you want to say advanced shows like Johnny Quest, right?
Yeah, again, Hanna-Barbera. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, granted it was about the kids, but really, the stuff that you were watching was really about the dad and tough guy,
and it was Race Bannon, I think it was. Yeah, Dr. Benton Race.
Oh yeah.
Race Bannon, Dr. Benton Quest, Haji, who I
Yeah.
believe was a Sikh from India because of the turban.
The token colored guy.
Yeah.
Comedy relief, even back then.
No, Comedy Relief was the dog, Bandit.
Oh yes. No.
But the thing was, that show, what was really amazing about that show, it was a kid's cartoon,
Yes.
but it was violent. And I don't
Yeah.
mean like cartoon violent, it was violent. People got beaten up, people were murdered, people died.
Well, all implied though, right?
No,
I mean,
actually,
it was
I distinctly
they
remember.
implied it. They did big sound effects to exaggerate the bonging in the face.
Yeah, but I distinctly remember at least one episode where people actually got killed.
Oh, and you have to, of course, talk about Scooby-Doo.
Oh, of course!
Scooby-Doo has an infinite number of side, TV shows, movies, and then they had the live action, which I thought was good. I liked it.
Oh my God, the guy that played Shaggy was amazing.
Oh my God! I mean, I've
Matthew
seen him
Lillard.
in other stuff, but that voice was bang on.
Yeah, I mean, actually, after Casey Kasem, the guy that voiced Shaggy originally died, Matthew Lillard took over.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just but I mean, he looked the part so beautifully.
He looked it. He acted. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but let's face it, they pretty much made it clear everything that everybody suspected when after a certain age. Shaggy was a pothead.
But I thought that was a given. I didn't think that was a question.
Well,
I thought that he was the embodiment of surfer, drug, pot, wasted guy. I thought that's what he was.
although I actually recently went back and watched the very first episode
Of what, like
of
the
Scooby-Doo,
cartoon?
Where Are You? Yeah.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, the character Shaggy, they actually flat out say at one point in the cartoon that he was high school gymnastics champion.
What?
Yeah.
Really? Interesting. But you know what? I have to say that I can't say I really like the rest of the casting. With regards to him, he did an awesome job.
Oh, he was amazing.
And of course, we're coming off topic, even though we're talking about Scooby-Doo.
Right.
We're talking about the live version of the movie. But of course, having Mr. Bean in there was always
Oh,
fun.
Rowan Atkinson is funny in almost everything he does.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes. But getting back to Scooby-Doo, I mean,
But you know what? Scooby-Doo had the original, storyline. But then there's been a newer version that has come out focusing on the Mystery Machine and the previous Mystery Inc. that existed before this Mystery Inc.
was there?
Yeah, and it's not, the story is nice except for the fact that one of the main characters is a corrupt, I'm not sure if he's an owl or toucan or something, that actually talks, and he's like a criminal mastermind sitting behind the scene.
What's it called?
It's Scooby-Doo, but I don't remember what
Okay.
they add on to it to separate it.
Okay.
But it's done sort of in the 60s, 70s look and dress code.
Huh.
And what they're focusing on is that this Mystery Inc. is a second generation of a first Mystery Inc. And there's some hidden story that broke the original Mystery Inc. apart. And, like I said, this owl or whatever it is that can talk is part of that criminal mastermind, and there's a hidden story that they're investigating regular stuff, but
That
this
sounds
is always
stupid.
No, it wasn't. What are you
It sounds stupid.
No, what are you talking about, man?
I thought that some of the clones that were also, I mean, Hanna-Barbera did so many different versions of clones of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
Yeah.
And I thought they were awful, and that sounds even, I mean, you had the Buford Files, you had Speed Buggy, you had
I don't remember any of those.
Jabberjaw, you had
I kind of remember that one. I mean, where would
Captain Caveman was basically a clone.
You think so?
Yes.
How so?
You had basically a furry animal
Yeah.
with a bunch of teenagers. In this case, they were all girls, but they were a bunch of teenagers. All they ever seemed to do is travel around in their van and solve mysteries.
Oh.
The Buford Files, it was a bloodhound, and it was down in the bayou.
Okay.
So everybody talked with like a Cajun accent.
Yeah.
They were all like, I mean,
I guess
after the success of Scooby-Doo, they tried so many different variations on the same formula over and over again.
So what do you think about Scrappy then?
Oh, everybody thinks of Scrappy. They should have he should have been left on the scrap heap when they did the first drawing.
Yeah,
oh my
okay.
god.
I have to agree.
I didn't even like Scooby-Dum.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no.
I think
the original story of them, looking for the ghosts, and inevitably deducing that it was
just a guy in a
somebody
mask,
else.
and I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
And
And don't forget the dog. No, but the best part would always be, well, there would be two best parts. The part where they'd have to bribe Scooby to do something brave with a bunch of Scooby snacks.
Yeah.
Or
which were always abundant.
Or the part where Shaggy and Scooby would be cornered by the monster of the week, and they would then do some ridiculous con, like
or trap. You're talking about the traps?
No, they do like a con, like there was the werewolf episode, and they basically suddenly out of nowhere they find this barber shop in the haunted mansion or whatever it was, and they dress up like barbers and they shave the werewolf's head. And they manicure his claws, and then and then they put hot towels on his face and make a run for it.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
But I mean, every
totally
episode,
legit.
But that's just it. Those were some of the best parts. They were hilarious.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And of course, all the scenes involving food.
Yeah, that's true. All right, okay. So we've talked a lot about talked about some of the morning stuff that we watched and whatnot. What about after school stuff? Do you remember anything that you would come home and you'd rush home to watch cartoons after school?
The thing was, when I was a kid, I was sent to a private school, so school ended a lot later for me.
Mm.
And to be perfectly honest, my parents were kind of rough about that. So like getting your homework done before you did anything else.
Yeah.
So by the time I got home, forget it.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. Although
no, for me,
I would say that in later years, like by the time I got into junior high, then you had Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Yeah, that's true. But before that, they had, did you ever watch like the He-Mans or?
Oh yeah.
Stars?
Well, He-Man, yeah. I honestly, like, it was kind of neat, but I wasn't a big fan
of He-Man.
No.
Oh, so you're a fan of She-Ra?
No.
Yeah, of course you are. You just
no, I was
not.
Of
course you were.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you loved it when she put up that sword.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah, I can already hear it.
No. although
years.
From the same studios, Filmation that did He-Man and Brave Star also did a Flash Gordon miniseries, and that I loved. Oh, the Flash Gordon miniseries was just amazing.
Okay.
But again, in many respects, like with all those cartoons from Filmation, they did a lot of the same limitation that they did with Rocket Robin Hood and Spider-Man, even though they were completely different studios. The only thing was that for a lot of the stuff they did rotoscoping. So
what's rotoscope?
Well, rotoscoping was a very early form of animation that they used to make it a lot easier to make more lifelike human movement. So they'd film an actor acting out the scene, and then they'd trace out on the animation cell the from the film of the real person, and that way you'd get. But like, I mean, anytime somebody laughed in any of those cartoons, it was the same clip of animation every episode.
Well, the big one I remember from He-Man was when he's running. So he'd start running in starting position, and he starts running, and it looked great. But then you saw that Man at Arms, and it was a different overlay, but the same motions. Yeah, and when you would stop to look and then run again.
The thing that always bugged me was the female characters, and I don't mean She-Ra. I mean, no, I don't. I mean Teela in He-Man and Teela.
Who's that?
Man-at-Arms' daughter.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry.
And also the sorceress and
Yeah.
there was an evil female character. For the life of me, I can't remember her name.
Well, I remember that all the guys looked the same.
Yeah, they all had
even
the same build,
Skeletor
yeah.
or whatnot, and then all the women looked the same.
But the thing that always bugged me
Just
was
different over.
these women were all wearing stiletto heels.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
There was no paved roads.
So
They were like running over rocky terrain the whole
yeah,
time.
I'm pretty sure
and
that's
these
what you
women
were
are wearing
thinking when you were
stiletto
seeing them
heels.
running.
Seriously,
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's
That's
like-
what you were
it's
thinking of when they were running.
It's like watching the live action TV show Castle now, and the female character Beckett. She's supposed to be this tough as nails cop,
Yeah.
and she's always wearing these fucking stiletto heels. She kicks indoors in stiletto heels. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's not
right.
animation.
What?
That's not animation.
Yeah,
Get back on
please,
topic.
please. Yes, I know. As my darling love would say, sod off. It's an acronym. SOD for suspension of disbelief.
Okay, sure.
But yeah,
Okay, well, before you foobar this topic, let's get back on topic.
okay, so I mean, there were so many other. I mean, like any of the Disney cartoons.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your
Are you
early?
talking about the old ones or the new ones?
Eh,
Because
I mean, okay,
the old ones were good.
Well, what's your earliest memory of a Disney cartoon?
Well, just like I don't remember the full piece of it, but the part that I do remember, I think it was the Snow White, and wasn't there a part where the witch turns into a black dragon? Was that
No,
the right
that was
one?
Sleeping Beauty.
Okay, sorry. So Sleeping Beauty, because I remember very distinctly that transformation into that giant black dragon, and I thought that was freaking awesome. I love that.
By an odd coincidence, I'm not going to say the same thing, but by an odd coincidence, it was my earliest Disney memory is also a transformation, but it's from Sight, where the
Okay.
evil queen transforms herself into this wizened old crone,
Oh yeah, the old woman.
and that scared the living crap out of me.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Well, because the bulging eyes reminded me of Nosferatu, which we mentioned in the previous episode.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, all right, I'll say it. Yeah, that makes sense. But you know what? The nice thing was that Disney really had that unique understanding of how to use the media medium to really get at both young and old.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those things that old or young, you can still watch these things and get something from it, even from way back then.
Oh yeah. But even now, I mean, might as well jump forward. Aladdin. I mean,
Yeah.
half the gags that Robin Williams, may he rest in peace, Robin Williams did in Aladdin.
As Genie.
Yeah, as the genie, most kids would never have understood.
Yeah, but that's different. Because, here they had this talent of improv, and they just
yeah.
let him do his thing, and that was, it was good, for the adults. It was just terrible for the kids, because like you said, they didn't recognize it. But they had all the other characters to bond with. So,
Oh yeah.
and it wasn't a main character. I'm sorry, it
Well,
was.
no,
He was
he
the
wasn't
main character.
No. But he was far more fun.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that a lot of the Disney stuff has changed in that those classics they were well rounded for both young and old, whereas these ones I find a lot more of the humor to be more along the lines for the parents, and the kids just watch the animation and the things that are sort of going on, right?
Yeah. No, I'd have to agree with you on that. Yeah.
It's not like for example, if you're watching like Dr. Seuss, right? From right? I mean, that stuff is for kids.
Oh,
And you have to be an adult with a kid's heart to be able to watch it and enjoy it.
No, actually, you know what? I still every December I do watch How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
My case in point. Thank you.
But then
Thank
again, I will still every Halloween watch It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I have it on DVD.
So there you go. So you
What,
you've
you
made my
don't?
point.
You don't?
No, hell no.
You haven't. No,
I'm too busy watching important stuff like
porn.
like How to Train My Dragon.
Porn. Okay, How to Train
I don't
Your
watch
Dragon.
Charlie Brown.
What?
I don't watch the old Charlie Browns and the Dr. Seuss's.
Oh man.
No thanks.
But no, it's that stuff's awesome. But actually, back up a second. We were mentioning
Mention a lot of things. You don't listen.
Johnny Quest.
Okay. That was a long time ago, man.
Yeah. Oh, but I completely forgot. The director, the action movie director,
Meds.
Robert Rodriguez.
Who?
Robert Rodriguez. He did Spy Kids. He did Sin City.
Oh, right.
Desperado. Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Yep.
He actually got the rights to Johnny Quest.
Did what?
Live action.
I mean, that's something he's doing, or he
Yes.
just bought it for the sake of?
No,
spending
he's
some
doing
money?
it. He's already started.
All right. Well, the jury's out on that. we shall see. Well, you know what? To be honest, as you say, he did Spy Kids, and I could see that
And,
pretty much
and
kinda
Shark
same
Boy
thing.
and Lava Girl, which I never bothered with.
Hell yeah, but you know what? It was popular. I'm not
Yeah.
sure why, but it
Yeah,
was.
I don't know either. But anyway, but yeah, so,
You know, I'd sooner see another Inspector Gadget.
oh dear God, no.
What?
God, no. Although,
Yes!
there's the funny stories, because that was voiced by Inspector Gadget was voiced by Don Adams originally,
Yeah.
the guy that was Maxwell Smart on Get Smart.
Yep,
Funny
of course.
story. The guy that now does or did after he died, the guy that took over doing Inspector Gadget was Maurice LaMarche, the voice of the Brain in Pinky and the Brain.
Oh,
And
okay.
he tells the story, because he used to voice the Chief as well, and he tells the story that, like, in between takes, because for that cartoon, all the actors would be in the same room, just doing their lines in sequence. And between takes, he would be telling the rest of the cast all these stories about the filming of Maxwell Smart. So he'd be like,
Right.
"Go, go, Gadget Razor!" So there we were, chained to the wall, Don Rickles and me. And we were laughing so hard that everybody else went to lunch, left us chained to the wall. And and when they came back for lunch, we were still there laughing. Okay, we're ready for you, Don. Go, go, Gadget Razor!
But you know what? That's the part that I like the best. You know,
Oh yeah,
it was always that enthusiasm.
oh yeah. That's the one thing. I mean, all those cartoons. I mean, might as well Pinky and the Brain. The enthusiasm. I mean, just some of the gags involved with some of that stuff. And I mean, that all came about, Pinky and the Brain and Animaniacs and Tiny Toons, because Steven Spielberg was a fan of
Yeah.
the old Warner Brothers cartoon, and he just wanted to bring it back.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? Those aren't really that kid oriented. I mean, it was sort of following the age bracket.
Of course, they weren't just catering to kids; they were catering to the adults who were fans of the originals, and so there were tons of jokes. I mean, like they did a whole Pinky and the Brain storyline that involved Godzilla, except instead of calling him Godzilla, they called him Gollyzilla. Get it?
I don't remember those.
Okay. and they'd even intersperse it with scenes of an animated Raymond Burr just suddenly appearing and going, yes.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of their gags were at a higher level. I mean, obviously, trying to take over the world, but it was amazing ideas with flawed executions that made them funny.
Flawed? Oh, the plans.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the cartoons themselves. No, okay.
No.
I was going to go to the mat for that, there, Dave.
You got to turn up your hearing aid. But what? How did we transition from that into things like SpongeBob? I mean, okay, are you a SpongeBob fan or not?
Honestly, no. I've seen clips. I've never watched a full episode. From what I understand, it's really apparently it's very funny.
I can't watch it really.
I don't know. I saw one clip recently because when I was working on the slides for episode 8, the horror stuff, I was looking for stuff about Nosferatu, and I came across a mention that Nosferatu had become a recurring character on SpongeBob. So I pulled up a couple of clips, and I was like, "You've got to be freaking kidding me! This? Oh, that's bad."
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the kids love it. Maybe because of the theme song, and I'm not exactly sure what it is that the kids love about it. But I don't really even let Victor watch it.
Although, what blows my mind, I found out a while back while listening to the Talkin' Toons podcast, that one of the main characters on SpongeBob is voiced by none other than Clancy Brown, the Kurgan.
Mm-hmm.
The Kurgan does.
He's got to pay the bills, man.
Yeah. Go figure.
Got to pay the bills. What can you say?
Yeah.
But the nice thing though is the one thing I have to say is, despite things like that still pop up periodically, and I'm not exactly sure if it's from the science. They do all the studies on nowadays and keep the statistics on what kids like of different ages, and they try to build shows to hit these certain targets,
demographics. Yeah.
Right? And maybe when you're only focusing on demographics, you can forego logic. I don't know. So this month kids like like monkeys with top hats. So suddenly the show has monkeys with top hats.
You were about to say monkeys in hot pants, weren't you?
No.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
I was going to say penguins, but I didn't want to say penguins because I like penguins in Madagascar.
Oh, yeah, the penguins. Rico?
I like them. I don't care what you say.
No, they're hilarious. I love that. I didn't like the rest of the characters in the Madagascar cartoons.
I agree. Oh, God, I have to agree.
But the penguins were just hilarious.
Well, I can understand why they got their own spin-offs because they are definitely the best characters there.
Yeah.
Easily.
Oh, yeah.
And so I like them, and so when I was thinking of it, I had them in my mind. I didn't want to say them because I like them.
When you say,
no, I was not thinking of hot pants. So there you go.
But when you're talking about they're trying to reach the demographics and you just can't understand what it is that kids see in this stuff, years ago I was working in a camera store and and one of my most loyal customers, believe it or not, was Ernie Coombs, Mr. Dress Up.
Okay.
And
hey, Mr. Dress Up.
Yeah, you remember Mr.
It's not me.
Yeah, I know, but there's a point to this. We'll get there. And this was just a little like when my son started watching TV. My first son started watching TV, and he was so into Teletubbies. And I had the same point of view of Teletubbies that you and I have about SpongeBob. Like, what the fuck is this shit? And one day Mr. Dress Up came into the store, and I was like, okay, if there's anybody that can answer this question, it's going to be him.
Yeah.
And I said, Mr. Coombs, please tell me, Teletubbies, what's the deal? And he looked me right in the eye and he said, son, I've been in children's entertainment all my life. I worked with Mr. Rogers before I came up to Canada.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I knew it all. I don't get it either.
There you go.
So
it can even baffle him.
So there you go. I mean, but moving on, I mean, like the cartoons now.
That's put my mind into a loop now. I can't.
But you get the Penguins of Madagascar. You got Kung Fu Panda, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah, I loved it. And you know what I liked most about it was all the subtle parts.
Oh,
the choice of the five masters. All representing different original kung fu styles.
Yes,
and all those little subtleties, and of course the ridiculously good animation. I mean the landscapes and
oh yeah, and the genius of having Jackie Chan voice one of them.
Well, of course, even though he was one of the harder ones to understand.
Yeah, but I mean, I just loved it,
yeah.
and one of my most recent favorites. I mean, I cannot get enough of this movie. Was Big Hero 6.
Oh yeah, this was a good one. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I liked it. I really liked it.
I'm sorry. I could have sworn the last time we discussed this, not on the air, but we were discussing it, you said you could take it or leave it.
No, I liked it.
You're not going to argue with me?
About liking?
Well, no, I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, dead topic. It was good.
Oh, well, fine. Fuck you.
See, now you're just making trouble.
Oh, but yeah, that movie was just so much fun.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, the Stan Lee cameo had me laughing my ass off.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. I think when we spoke about it last time, I think you had mentioned that it was a Marvel thing, which I hadn't realized at the time.
Yeah, but it's so departed from the original Marvel comic that they're practically unrecognizable from each other.
True. But I mean, okay, what about things like was that Monsters vs. Aliens? Have you seen that?
Yes, I loved it.
Okay, so I liked the idea of it, and I liked the first like the movie on it and how they did the transitions and so forth. Except that
did they make a TV series from it?
I'm not sure if it was a TV series, but I'm pretty sure there was I'm pretty sure I saw like a Halloween. There was a Halloween thing on it, and they had a couple of others. So I wasn't sure if those were
part
I've only
of
a TV series or if those were just short or like small small shorts.
Okay, I've only ever seen the one movie.
Yeah, they have some other ones. There's one in specific. It incorporated Halloween and some adventures that they were having because they could actually walk around at Halloween and what.
Okay, cool.
But,
I'll have to look that up. But I mean, one of the things that I loved so much about that cartoon was that all of the secondary characters, all those other monsters, were basically blatant spoofs of classic movie monsters.
Well, exactly.
I mean, Dr. Cockroach was the Fly. Link was the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yep.
Bob was the Blob. I mean, they made such a blatant reference to the Blob that they even, you see, the star of the movie The Blob, the hero in the story, was played by Steve McQueen. And they actually have a scene in the cartoon where Bob is sitting in his cell bouncing a baseball against a wall. Now, the reference to this is that Steve McQueen, one of his other greatest films was The Great Escape, and there would be the running gag throughout the movie that he'd constantly get thrown into the cooler with his baseball, and he'd be throwing the baseball against the wall.
But the thing was, it wasn't a baseball; it was his eyeball.
He'd catch the baseball in his mouth and pop out his eyeball.
Oh, that's true. That was it.
Right. But that was the gag.
Yeah.
And what were the other characters? There was Dr. Cockroach, there was Link, there was Bob. Oh, and there was the
Ginormica.
Well, not her. The other thing, was it a moth or a no?
Oh, the giant.
The giant insect was a takeoff of Mothra.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why at the end of the movie, when they say who wants to go to Japan, the first monster to answer was the butterfly.
Yeah, exactly. The flying one.
Yeah.
But I mean, nowadays they have really come a long way with regards to, how entertaining a lot of things are there. The subtlety is still there, but the quality is still there. They've got Shrek, and as you said, the Kung Fu Panda. Yeah. But I mentioned it earlier. I have to say, I love this series, How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh yeah,
they've got the first and second movie, but they have the TV series, and they've got a couple of holiday specials out there.
And I think there's a third movie on the way.
There could very well be. I'm not sure, but the thing that I liked about it is that each episode of the show and even the holiday specials, they keep true to the original form. Each piece of them are quality things. It's not just like add-ons. Here we go again type of thing. Each one of them, totally quality.
What I also really liked about How to Train Your Dragon is that there's actually a timeline. The characters are aging.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, like The Simpsons have been on now for how many years?
Yeah.
And Bart is still a kid. Maggie, wait a second, what's the baby's name? Or is that Maggie? It's been so long I don't remember anymore.
I don't watch it
the baby is still a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sake.
It's Maggie. Maggie's the baby.
Lisa's the older kid, the older daughter. Okay, yeah. But you know what? We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to do a part 2 episode at some point in the future.
Well, what part of what I wanted to get out of this was some of the stuff we saw when we were young, some of the stuff that we
but
see
there's
now.
Still so much more. I mean,
yeah. That's true for a lot of our topics.
I could do a total geekgasm on a ton of other cartoons, and I want to.
Like She-Ra.
No, not like She-Ra.
No, I know that's what you want.
Oh, just admit it. You want to talk.
I'm going to see an email any minute.
You want to talk about heavy metal and all the and all the.
Well, that's true too.
All the animated tits.
Hell yeah. Okay, fair enough. I mean, part of this too was, I wanted to some of those things to like too, and just there's so many other titles, as you say, that we may have missed. But
so let's get into the geek talk back now.
Sure. Sure.
Have you gotten it?
I have one.
You do?
Been talking with it. Sorry.
Yeah, you do. Good.
I do. Of course I do. I always
people talk to you.
People
aside
talk
from
to
me,
there
are other people than me that talk to you.
Well, I got to talk to some sensible people.
Okay, fine. Be that way.
So one of the things that I was talking with some younger listeners, and when we did that,
what? Sensible younger listeners, please.
Compared to you,
they probably watch SpongeBob.
So anyway, they were when we were talking about the games, video games, online games. And
like yes, that. Episodes 6 and 7.
Yeah, and we were talking about the swatting and Pete's preoccupation with the gamer girls and
Get
and
the
so
hose.
forth. They were telling me about a whole bunch of other terms that we didn't mention, and so I was saying to them, send them to us, and if we have enough of these separate terms, maybe we'll do a video game lingo episode, or have them on to talk specifically about lingo, or we can even talk about shortcuts and emoticons and things like that too. So we can help some of our younger listeners educate some of the older listeners into some of these things because there are a lot of new terminology that's coming along that people may hear about but not really understand what it's about. So I said, definitely if you're watching through YouTube, you have the comment section there. So throw in the comments, we'll gather them up, and maybe we'll do an episode or have you on and do an episode. So
yes, please,
listeners, remember that.
Please, anybody who's out there, if you're hearing the sound of our voices and it's not making you vomit, please do send us comments. Write in. Our email.
Argue with us. Disagree with him.
Or whatever. Or even if you want to hear more about cartoons, if you want another cartoon episode, please say so. If you want,
Yep.
If you don't want to hear about Dave's obsession with animated bare breasts, say so. We this slide cast isn't just so that we can talk at each other. We do it all the time. We're here also to inform and entertain you, the people out there on the internet,
and get you guys on too.
Yeah.
This is not like one of those things that you give us a list and 10 months later you hear back from us. So give us a topic and let's get you on the air.
Yeah, we have no.
Or like Pete, for example, we didn't.
Okay. All right. So that
wraps us up.
That wraps us up for episode 9 of Geek Talk MD.
Episode 10.
Episode 10. What's going to be episode 10?
Well, there's lots of things we can do. Even if episode 10 is talking about what it is to be a geek, even that we could definitely talk about that too. So I was just thinking about that recently.
I was thinking martial arts.
Martial arts
movies.
is good.
Martial arts movies.
Yeah, martial arts movies
have a total geekgasm over Bruce Lee.
Yeah. Or we can do something on miniatures. I know a few people that want to talk about miniature gameplay, so that's something that's a possibility too.
Yep.
So there's still lots of stuff to chat about, and we'd love to hear from you. If you guys have a priority, send it as soon as possible so we can get it put together for you.
Okay.
Or get you on the air and arrange time to get you on the air.
With your parents, if you're allowed to, first, if you're underage.
Yes. You definitely don't. I definitely don't want to be calling up. Can I talk to Mikey?
So
that'd be bad.
So thank you for listening, everybody. Pack up your lucky dice. Put away the Chinese food menus. We'll see you next time on Geek Talk MD.
Good night.
That's all, folks.